in the 4 years since her BAFTA and Golden Globe nominated performance as Charlotte Bronte's heroine Jane Eyre, Ruth Wilson has established herself as one of our busiest actors, playing edgy, strong and sometimes psychotic women.
Boom, boom.
Well, and last night, what was your head full of then?
Hurricanes hardly ever happen.
You'll burn for the rest of your life, which is why I would appreciate some gratitude.
Full technique. All I know about him is he works in a bank, lives with his father, and likes barley twists. I needed toughening up.
Very good. What a variety of roles. What makes you pick a role?
I don't know, sometimes they just respond to you somehow. I mean, for example, this, well, Jane Eyre, I think it's a great role, and it's something that I
Just
read.
out of drama school for Jane Eyre,
Yeah, it was my second job, so...
So you must have been terrified to take on the responsibility of
Well, I
that
didn't
size.
think about it. I think that's something that's quite, probably quite good about me and also quite bad. I don't think about it until it's halfway through the job, and then I'm like, this is quite a big deal.
But also, you didn't ease yourself into it gently at all. I mean, it was a very high-profile part, and that's the type of thing where you open yourself up to critics either, thank goodness, loving you for it, but, you know, when you go, oh, this could have gone the other way, and this is my first job,
And of
really.
course, like, the first thing that all the Bronte fans did was sort of ask about my height issue. They were sort of saying, she's far too tall, she's 5'6", should be 5' nothing. I was like, well, doesn't matter.
Get over it.
Exactly. But no, of course, yeah, you are open to criticism, but that's the job you take on.
Yeah.
And every job you do, you're open to criticism, so...
So what about the one that you're about to undertake now? Because this is Through a Glass of Darkly, which is just a fantastic title anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually a quote from the Bible, from the Corinthians, and it's about seeing God in life through a glass darkly, but when you die, you see him clearly. So it's the sort of how it's difficult, spirituality is difficult.
Well, this is a Ingmar Bergman movie, and it's the only one, it's from 1962, the only one that he allowed to be adapted for the stage.
Yeah.
And we'll come to that in a moment, because I know that others are now, you know, able to be, after his death, that there are others that can be. But this is the story of Karen, who she has been... had been admitted to an asylum and then was released, and she's with her family on a Swedish island, and every part of her family, there's not just who they are in the sort of linear sense, but there's who they are in the mind sense as well, and the parts that they're playing. So explain that to us.
Well, it's a family drama, really. I mean, but it deals with... well, she's come out of an asylum and she's struggling to hold on to her sanity. And the three men in her life, her husband, her brother and her dad, are the three men she thinks can help her through that. But actually, she realises they can't. And what can is God and spirituality, and something that she finds while she's on this holiday. So it deals with everything. It deals with family relationships, as well as God and the relationship with God, as well as the artist, because her father's a writer. So it deals with everything. That's Bergman.
Well, she's his muse, isn't she?
Yeah, he watches her insanity, he watches her decline into madness, and he uses that.
Her brother has a sort of sexual fascination with her.
So he's going through puberty, so he's dealing with all these emotions anyway, so he finds he's attracted to his sister in a way that he doesn't want to be.
Her husband is a control freak.
Yeah, he's a doctor who kind of feels he has the right way of dealing with madness and mental health. So none of them can quite help in the right way, and the only thing that can is this other being, this God, this spirituality that she has, which is fascinating. And I mean, the reason why I took the job, I actually think, was because my granny had a religious experience about, well, in her 40s, and she died about 3 years ago, and we never knew anything about it. And she wrote her life story down, and when she died, she allowed us to read it. And it was exactly the same, or much of it was very much the same as what Karen goes through.
How did she keep it quiet?
She just didn't tell anyone, and she had this... I mean, she would meditate for hours in the morning, and we didn't know anything about it. We knew she was spiritual, but not to that extent. And she dedicated the rest of her life from that moment to God and to being with him. And it's fascinating. She describes in her book the idea of being between two worlds and living between two worlds and not being able to cope with it, really. And that's what Karen, exactly how Bergman describes Karen, is stuck between two worlds, one with God and one with the reality that we all live in.
Because the research that you do for roles is very important to you, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know that you do sort of extensive research, so that must have helped hugely. And I know you guys bumped into each other.
Well, at an airport, yes. Well, we didn't actually say anything because Steph and I, we were on our way back from a weekend in Stockholm, and we were at the airport, and we'd been watching Prisoner, loved Prisoner.
Yeah.
And I said, it's her, you know, it's that woman from Prisoner. So,
and I
as
was like,
you do, she said, it's him,
Philip,
that's that
it's
bloke
Philip,
off... I can't
Going
remember.
Live.
Yeah, Going Live.
Oh, the broom cupboard.
Very good. And the reason you were there was that you'd been up to where Bergman had
I'd been
lived.
to Faroe, which is the island off in Gotland, which is where Bergman lived and where he filmed Through a Glass Darkly. And there's a couple that had worked with Bergman who took us around the island and all the areas where he shot the scenes. And I mean, it was lovely just to be there and to see it. I mean, sometimes it really helps. Like, I went to New Orleans for Streetcar, and that really helps because the play's about that in
Get
contrast
a real sense
to...
of the taste of the place.
Yeah, in contrast to Mississippi and where Blanche and Stella were from. Whereas this is more a family drama, really, but still, it's a good excuse to go on holiday.
Well, it's Through of Darkly.
Really
it's
does.
the Almeida until the end of July. That's in Islington in London. Well worth going to see. And thank you very much indeed for coming
thank you.
today. It's lovely to see you.